Welcome back to the Coach Show with Coach Harris, and I'm Joe Roberts, and we're going to do it again. All right, Coach, another week, another day, another dollar. Not the outcome you wanted, but, man, the game was so good last Friday. And don't try to give me the you're doing it. You're doing it already. All right. So we came up a little bit short.
Yes, sir.
30-29. Overall, they looked good, but we left some points on the table.
Yeah, was a really good game. Could have been even better if we on the other side of it. But I think our team showed a lot of improvement. And I told the kids that yesterday, meeting with them, that, it wasn't all bad. Like, sometimes we try to harp on the things that didn't go well. But a lot of things went well, and a lot of things we emphasize as coaches improved. And so, like I told them, it's not one thing that I could say lost us that game, but it was just an accumulation of the little small things that added up. And, it's hard to win. It's hard to win football games. And so I said, we got to take care of those little small details, and the big things to take care of themselves. And I know some of my kids, when I start, they kind of already know what I'm going to say. Mm-hmm. But it's true, and it held true Friday. So a lot of big improvements, though. I like the progress we're making, but, got to take care of those little details, and we'll be fine.
Second week in a row, you guys came out and you started the scoring party, and that's been some time since that's happened. The offense seems to be moving much better this season than last season. I mean, you've scored 20-plus 2 weeks in a row.
That's why Justin Taylor's now.
That's why I heard that tall, skinny guy.
Yeah, he's my offensive coordinator. He's done a tremendous job with those guys, and I think we have a great game plan that we try to emphasize, and it shows really opening drives when you can go down and score. You're doing the right things.
Yeah, Logan Fowler has just really kind of turned into your short yardage guy. Don't see him a bunch during the middle of the drive because you got Jaden Holmes, who's I don't know if he's faster, but you definitely use him a lot more in the middle of the field. But, man, it's nice to have a bevy of running backs at your disposal.
Absolutely, and when they're all healthy, it's even better. You get three guys in the backfield that brings little different things, elements to the game, and they all kind of, I guess, like benefit from each other, so to speak. But, yes, Fowler, Mr. No Wiggle, he's a downhill runner. We know what he's going to give us. And he does a good job at it.
Second week in a row, Ross and I talked about that offensive line, and this has probably been, I don't know, last year it seemed like you were having to try out a different combination at the line because of injuries and other things all year long. Knock on wood, pretty consistent 2 weeks in a row. You've got Josh Allison and Mason Jordan as your bookends, and then you've got Rubio and Harris at the guard spots, and then Eli Nicholson, and they seem to be working like fingers on the hand.
Yeah, well, that was our most consistent group all summer, and so we knew that they're going to be the group we rely on. You can flip it and go defensive line as well. Like, if you have a good team, you better have a good O-line and a good D-line, and so those guys are doing a good job. They're getting better. We returned about really only 2 starters from that group last year. And so, we got 3 guys there that are getting reps and getting experience that didn't necessarily play it last year, especially at this level. So they're doing a good job, but we still got a lot of improvement there. And, every day just trying to find a way to get a little bit better with that group and every other group that we have.
Diego Diaz, second week in a row. He had a bit of a rough start to start the game, missed the point after, but then he nails 3 field goals, 2 more extra points. And I thought he was going to have a chance to kick a really long field goal at the end, but whether he did or whether he didn't, he had an excellent game.
Absolutely, and that's what we expect of him. As we started that drive with about 30-some seconds left, I looked at the coach and I said, hey, we're going to go for the record, so if we can get it somewhat close, we're going to at least try it, Obviously it didn't happen that way, but, yeah, it's always great to have a guy like Diego who, once again, can give us 3 points and make our life a lot easier. But we want touchdowns instead of 3 points.
So you're living right when you hit the upright and
Yeah.
it drops straight down for the crossbar.
Absolutely. He's going to church on Sundays.
He's doing something. I enjoyed that. Another solid game from Frankie.
Yes, sir.
He made great decisions again. Picked up big yards when you need it. Man, the one member of the band that we haven't heard a lot from because you just really haven't needed to focus is Connor Geezy. He had a huge pickup in that fourth quarter.
Yes, sir. Well, our receivers have done a great job of doing what we ask of them. Extension of our running game is throwing our what we call fast screens or now screens and getting those guys out on the perimeter one-on-one just to get, easy yards, so to speak, especially depending on how the defense is playing us. And our receivers have done a great job of doing that. But, we've rushed the ball really well the last 2 weeks, and that can be contributed to our receivers blocking down the field. And so we appreciate the hard work they're putting in, and that's why we've been how we are so far on offense, being able to run the ball, because what usually is about a 5 or 10 yard run, it's now turning into 15, 20 because those guys are blocking down the field and doing a good job at it.
All right, let's flip on the other side, Coach Garza's side of the ball.
Yes, sir.
Just another great game from Pepper DuBose. I think one of the highlights that I was able to pull out, you guys kicked the ball down there, and he just smoked that return man.
The silent assassin, man. He once again doesn't say much, but he goes about his business. And man, as coaches, we really appreciate that. He kind of sets the example for all those younger guys because we're really young on defense. But he sets the example on what it means to play defense for us and what we ask of those guys. And so, man, we're glad he's on our team. I say that.
You've got some outstanding kids. I think Connor Schultz is another good one that is just really. He was a freshman last year, sophomore this year. He's just really stepped up in a big way for you.
Yeah, and he hasn't had much of a choice. So, we started 3 freshmen on defense, 1 sophomore, and that's 4 guys starting on defense that don't necessarily have a lot of experience. And so those guys are having to grow up fast, and we understand we're going to take our bumps and bruises because we are young, but, we told them yesterday, some of y'all just got to grow up fast. You don't got time to sit back and watch and wait. So they're doing a good job. I like our progress. I really do.
So I would say through 2 weeks, if you had an Achilles heel, right now, from just as a fan perspective, it's that 2-point conversion. We've really struggled stopping that. But to be fair, the 2 teams that we've played have had pretty giant running backs. That's probably the biggest running backs that I've seen 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
With Cold Spring.
Oh, you just wait till this week.
I know what's happening with East Chambers. So how do you? I guess how are you preparing to kind of stop that? Because they're going to see the film.
Yeah. So it's not that we don't prepare for it. We do actually.
Well, that's not what I meant. That you didn't prepare for it.
So we do something what we call 7 shots.
Okay.
And it's emphasized on offense and defense. So basically, we put the ball on the 2-yard line, and we say, "Hey, offense, go score. Defense, get a stop." And it's basically a competition between offense and defense. And so, we get that every week. But, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to execution. We got to execute a lot better than what we are right now, especially with 2-point conversions. And, we did a great job defensively, especially the second half. I thought we settled down.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't score until that last drive with 3 minutes or so left. And so we did a good job there. But, the job's not finished until the clock strikes 0. And so we just got to do a better job of executing, and we got to do a better job as coaches as preparing them for what they're going to see.
Yeah, I didn't feel like Splendora was ready for y'all to come out as good as you came out. Y'all were banging on each other back and forth in the first half, and then, like you said, in that third quarter, the defense just really stepped up in a big way, got some big stops.
Yeah, I expect that of us. We, like you say, I think we got some good coaches, we got some good kids, and 5A, it don't matter the opponent, really. It's always about us. And so I think I told you last week, we're expecting to be in every game we play. And so shame on them if they didn't expect the same thing.
All right, players of the game this week offensively, it was Jaden Holmes.
Jaden Holmes had a really good game. Over 100 yards, running the ball, scored a touchdown, did a really good job for us. He's becoming really our bell cow. We go back defensively. Pepper, DuBois again.
Second week in a row.
Yep. I mean, made some tremendous plays for us off the edge. And then our grow player of the week was Eddie Wycliffe, who
he had some special teams plays. He recovered several.
Absolutely. So we knew they were going to try to onside it quite a bit versus us, which they shown that the week before. And, man, he recovered 3 by himself. And,
yeah.
You know,
he's
a sophomore, yep. First time on varsity, the lights wasn't too big for him, you know. So he did a great job. So he was our grow player of the week. And then, obviously, Diego, special teams player of the week, right. Rightfully so.
One thing I forgot I was going to say about Jaden, he showed me something on Friday that I didn't necessarily know he was capable of doing. He hit the hole a couple of times, and he drug several defenders with him, pushed the pile, and I didn't know that was in his tool bag, his repertoire. I didn't know that was within him.
Yeah, and you know he's not the biggest of running backs.
Well, that's why I didn't think that was in his.
He's probably the lightest of all 3 of our running backs, you know, and so yeah, he does a great job for us, man.
All right, Coach. This week, East Chambers, and man, it feels like they're always good.
Yes, sir.
They're 2-0. They're coming off a win over Hardin Jefferson, tight 21-19 victory. What are we going to see out of East Chambers?
Well, what you've seen from them the last 6, 7, 8 years.
Run.
Yeah, they are offensive. Let's just talk from an offensive perspective. One thing they're going to do is they're going to get into a bunch of unbalanced formations. They're going to try to steal your eyes with a bunch of motions, but then their bread and butter is running the ball. And so defensively, we got to be prepared for, you know, not getting our eyes in the wrong place. But, you know, once again, I think we'll have a shot because we're going to try to be a lot more simple this week defensively, get lined up. That's half the battle with us. So if we get a line, we have a shot. And so try not to steal our eyes with the motion and just play physical big boy football because it's what it's going to take.
Defensively, what are they going to throw at the offense?
Well, defensively, the good thing, this is our first team we're seeing that's 4 down. And so our kids see it all the time in practice because we are a 4-down defense. And so we get some, I don't even know what's the word I'm looking for.
Get a little bit of relief maybe?
Yeah, because we're not seeing a 3-down that we don't necessarily see except for on scout team. So they're going to give us a 4-down defense, really look a lot similar to how we look defensively. And so I think that's going to help us. But, you know, I think they have the best D-line we've seen so far. And those guys they're bigger than what they were last year, and they use their hands well. They get off blocks. And so it's going to be strength on strength, I think, with our O-line versus their D-line and see how we do versus those guys.
Well, hopefully, they don't have a giant. Splendora had that limbrick kid at that nose, man. He was a giant kid.
Everyone has big kids, man.
All right, Coach. Just like we do every week, what's your message to Panther Nation for this week?
Continued improvement, and I think we're heading in the right direction. So just bear with us. We're going to continue to work, continue to get better, and once again, let's be on the other side of it this week.
The 2 weeks in a row, huge crowd for Liberty Panther football. There's a lot of excitement about what you are doing with the program, what the boys are doing.
Yes, sir.
And this is the last, they call it the last rehearsal before we have probably a needed bye for you to get some people ready to start 10-4A in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
All right. You have been watching the Coach Harrison Show. I'm Joe Roberts, and we will see you next time.